There we go. Okay. Last time I worked on this project, Castle Baloneybeard, sequel 2, or whatever I'm gonna name this. Well, I named it 2. I may or may not keep that name, but we'll see. Last time I worked on the menu management, all that stuff, and I also did some time on my own. I have been sick for a little while, and what the hell? Oh, thank you for following, Freddy. And during that time, I have just, you know, do a little coding on and off when I'm feeling better, and I got a pretty decent menu system up and functioning right now. I hope. Let's see. So currently it's just loads splash screen. It's very simple. It then transitions to the title screen, which is usually where you had the logo, where you had the you know, little info, maybe copyright message, something like that. And then you press enter to start, and then you get taken to the main menu. This is where you can choose, you know, start, levels, option, or whatever else you want to add. And I did it in such a way that it's very easy to add or remove menu items, and really easy to work with. Now the only thing that does anything right now, I think, is exit. I don't think I did anything else. Let's see here. Yeah, it just logs right down there. So if you look at the original, this is the one that was made during a 1-week game jam. It starts out with a splash screen. It then takes you to the title, where you see the logo. It says press to start. You have a little cutesy animation there, you know, give you a taste of what to come, in a manner of speaking. Oh, Yold, hello. Sorry for not getting to you. I have many windows up in the screen here. So speaking of Castle Baloneybeard, we are trying to recreate this, but in a new and improved way. So if I press start, here's the menu. This is the old one. The theme of the old one was Game Boy, you know, 4 colors, restriction, and a very small resolution. So we're gonna take a few steps away from that restriction and allow us to be more free on what we want to do. But our focus is to create a clean, fun game that can act as a base for our book or our tutorial series, whatever is gonna come from it. Maybe both, probably both. But I will start out by writing the book, and then we'll move on from there and see how far it takes us. Now, if you compare the code with the old and the bad and the new one, rather, not the bad one. Let's see, where's the main scene? Here's the main scene. Let's see if I can't full screen this a little bit. In our main script, we're loading everything. We're loading it in our content. We have the main menu, level manager, splash screen, title screen, all the different things. We are setting the width and the height and scale from a global configuration, which I assume is a constant. Yes, it is. We cannot change this outside of the game. You're way up there after your bedtime. Holy shit! There's no such thing as a bedtime. Bedtime is just a nonsense your parents tell you when you grow up, so they can have peace. and we're gonna move away from this. We don't want this kind of configuration, and we already did do that in our new version of the game. And I apologize if the transitioning isn't quite perfect yet. I had to reinstall OBS and set up everything so you can see the right side of the screen and the left side of the screen. But that's neither here nor there. So the way we do now, we can load a configuration file. I created a config script and a config repository, and the repository is just a tool that the config use. It's only the config you as the developer will work with public accessible functions such as set width, get width, set height, get height, and scale, and whatever else you want to add to our or get from our configuration file. So you that are using this should not have to worry about how it's done. All you care about that when you set width, you are setting the property width, and you are updating your our in-game memory object, whatever you're gonna call this. We are storing this in memory when you start the game in our config file, and we make sure to save it. Whenever you set it, it's just gonna be saved. if we look at the function set property, we are using the config repository to set the property with the key and values. It's, you know, we're reusing code here. And when we start this, when we run the game, we run ready. We just instantiate our config by getting the config properties from the config repository class. So we that are working with this, we don't want to see all noise code, because there's a lot of noise in Godot Engine, because it's a bit difficult to I feel it's difficult to clean up, you know. So if we jump into this config repository, which we should not have to deal with when we are working as you know, getting and setting whatever, when we're working with the game, it looks like this. We have default configuration properties, which are auto-generated when on the first time you run the game, because if we don't have a configuration file by default, it's gonna create that configuration file. So the next time you run it, it's just gonna load configuration file and not use the default config properties. We also have validation setup. So when we have a width property with a default value of 1280 of a type int, integer, so you cannot add a float because it's gonna tell you it's bad. We also have a min and max size on that width property. So for example, I just set it to 256 as a minimum and 3840 as the maximum. Jesus. Thank you for following Code Orangutan C. Does that have anything to do with Dragon Ball C? No. Let's see. And this validation is very easy to expand on. We can easily add other types of validation, whatever you want to call this. So for example, the type is just a constant right now. It's just it's what we use to identify what type of validation we're doing and what data we can expect in the validation itself. Yeah, of course I do. Oh my god. I'm a huge Dragon Ball C fan and Dragon Ball fan and Dragon Ball. Actually, I like most Dragon Balls actually. I can appreciate most of them. Some are not so good, but most of them are good. So if we now look at set properties, this is the magic function we use to make changes. This is the only public function in this, I want to say class, object, node. Well, it's a node. Let's say class. I want to call this a class. Let's call this class. This is the only public, well, okay, one of two public functions we can use. We can get config, you know, it will do the job to instantiate the entire world, a context of configuration, and the set property. And this is when we update the property. That's the only thing we need to do. Code Orangutan was not available on most platforms, and C was the neutral sequel. And when we set property, we just check, okay, does our configuration file exist? I should probably rename that to if config file exists. Let's do that now while we're looking at this. And then let's find the class function rather, which is there. It is. Okay. So if our config file exists, we will simply save key value. We run that function. How that is done, I don't care. I mean, you may care if something is wrong, or if you want to change something. Maybe we want to save it in a database instead of in a config file. That's something we can do. Then I will go in here instead of messing with that function on top, you know, near the user that uses it. I'm the user, by the way, using this functionality, but yeah. So what we do, we set the value config with the key and value, and then we save the file. That's it. That's all we do. It's so easy. Now there's a lot of smaller functions in here, and that's because it usually has it probably has something to do with validation. And I did forget to update that one, so let's see if I can't do that. Hold on, here it is. Is that everything? Yeah, we have a lot of validation going on and stuff like that, and that's what took most of the time in setting up the configuration repository, or whatever we're gonna call this. This is not even a repository technically. I should probably rename this to something else. I couldn't think of another name, so if I can find the name, I would find username. I would use another name. So when we are getting our configuration, that's when you do a validate. And keep in mind, validate does that. It validates. Okay, so if our config file exists, we validate the config file content. That's what we do. If not, if it doesn't exist, then we return an error, file not found. And we have created a custom class in our Godot script, which is called error response. So we can handle the flow a little better, because we don't have throw exceptions in Godot. Like, there is no neat way to just throw exception, you know, throw API exception, because, you know, we couldn't access API, whatever reason we had, or whatever error you would have from that. Instead, we are sending an error response. So if you go back up again, where we ran this originally, we are we're setting it as a error response variable, and then we use match, which is pretty much a switch case in Godot, to check for status. If it's okay, well, then we're just gonna load config from file. We're not gonna do anything else. We're not gonna validate anything. I'm not gonna check if file exists again. That's a waste of time. Why would I do that? If it's not found, well, I'm gonna push a warning so we have some logging we can, you know, take a look at, figure out what's going on. And then we create a new default config, because if it's not found, then we want to create a new default config. It's very easy and simple to read this, isn't it? However, this is the most probable error we're gonna get. Well, except the first time you run this, I guess. But this is probably the most common error you're gonna get when you try to change some config values, you know. Let's try setting the width to 110,000. What's gonna happen, you know? Well, during the validate function, if I jump in here again, and then jump in validate config file content, because then something is wrong with the contents, we're doing a few validation here as well. So when we validate the content, we're validating the keys and the values. Now, if you're not a coder, keys is just the, let's say, the code to access that memory. Okay, that's maybe a difficult way to explain that. Imagine it being a key to a chest. In that chest are the values. So, for example, the key can be width. That's the key. Okay, I have width the key. And the value of that key is 1280 as by default. So that would be the value we will validate. So if something is wrong, let's say I'm writing a nonsense key. I make a new key with C or something. Then inside validate keys, we will then go through the each key, and we will find at some point key with C, and then we will find out that, hey, it's not part of our default configuration property, so it doesn't really exist, is what it's telling us. That means we have an unknown key. Okay, let's log that, or, you know, add it to the response status. Okay, status, error, invalid data, you know, properties. With C is unknown, just setting it known. This doesn't mean anything, it's just I wanted to set something on there, I guess, so I can store this in our error response properties. And what happens is, when you go upwards, let's see. Well, there was a shortcut to go up here. There we go. We're gonna set an error response. Then we will have, let's say, one error with the properties logged with the key error. We have a properties which we store the wrong key in, so it's a part of the error response. We keep validating though. We're not gonna stop if we have occurred one issue. We're gonna keep checking for other errors, so we can provide all errors up front instead of having to run 10 times to just fix 10 errors, you know. So then we check the values, you know. But the way we check values is we just iterate through the default config properties, because we don't want to check values on non-random keys that doesn't exist, even if they do exist, which may be the case in this case because we added theoretically with C. So what we do here, we just validate values. We don't care about any other keys, we just want to validate values of the default configuration properties, and we iterate through them. And we try to get the value from the config. Now, file get value is a Godot Engine file class. I think it's called config file, which is a pretty nice way to handle configuration properties. It's right there. And it allows you to save data pretty much, you know, by adding one line. Well, I guess 2 lines. You set the value and you save the value. Or file, rather. There's no open and close file in it, which is pretty convenient if you ask me. And the output looks somewhat like this. So in our case, we have a config section. So it will say config here. Then we have width equals something something, and height equals something something, and so on. So it's part of Godot, in case you were curious about that. So let's go here, look. Now we're trying to get a value from the section config with the following key, which we iterate into our default configuration properties. And if there is none found, we're gonna set a default value. So the default value will be error underscore, and the error code for invalid data, which I think is like 30 something. 30. Yeah, that's right. So if we're checking for an invalid type, or rather, when we're checking for invalid type, we're doing a is invalid data or has invalid value type. Then we print the error. Then we set the error status and add it to the properties. So we will probably have a different property. This can be, let's say, height, and the value is some nonsense like, you know, text string hello world, something that we don't expect, because it's not that means it's an invalid value type, I believe. So it's not a type int. It will be a type string if you wanted to add that configuration later on. So this is pretty much what I'm spending a lot of my time on during my sick week from time to time when I'm feeling better. The flow of our screen is pretty straightforward. I decided to move away from loading and just replacing screen, because our screens, which will be menus, aren't that heavy at all. It's pretty much no effort whatsoever to just hide and show it, and add some functions in those screens to, you know, initialize or unload something. So if you look at splash screen, for example, which is the first screen that boots up, following our main function, which is just set of screen size, which is done by getting the width and height and all the data from the configuration, which looks like this. This is how we get data from our config, which is, what's the word? Persistent. That's the word. Then we initialize our UI. That's the first thing we have to do, otherwise it's not going to work. And if you haven't run this before running this or anything else, it's going to show you an error, so it makes sure that we don't forget that. And then we just tell the UI to show the screen splash screen. So showing the screen is just going to swap screen. So whatever screen you may or may not have will be set as a it's going to be hidden pretty much. Let's see, you get a node. I'm getting the node splash screen. I'm then running hide screen, which is hiding the current screen, the one that we are replacing if there are any. So if it's not null, we will then run hide screen and reset it null, so there's no more any current screen. That we may or may not need that part here, I don't know, but I just did it just for good measure. And then you run show screen on the new screen which we are loading in, which will be splash screen. Now these functions needs to be there. It means it needs to be for every single screen. I have not yet gotten to the point where I'm going to be reusing a lot of code, let's say creating a superclass for screens. I'm not there just yet. I may get there at some point, but not yet. Now that's a lesson I have learned the hard way. I often keep refactoring too much, you know, trying to, you know, clean the code too early, pretty much. And I'm trying to move away from that a little bit, you know, keep it simple. If I don't need to, if I don't get immediate benefits from extracting anything, don't do it, you know. The same with duplicate code. Let's see. So the two functions every screen must have is hide screen and show screen. How they want to implement that, that's really up to the screens themselves. For example, the splash screen is just going to make sure that it plays the fade in out animation when we show the screen. And then we enable process input, and that allows us to register keys when you press keys, which will be in this function. Now, frankly, if you didn't turn this on and off, you wouldn't have to even use this, because by default, Godot Engine will enable it if you have this function implemented, which is part of a node or something like that. I don't know specifically which class uses this. Hold on. It seems, yeah, it's node. Yeah, what was I? So all I'm doing here is, if I'm pressing enter before the splash screen has loaded, we're just gonna skip it, because I don't want to force users to wait for the splash screen to finish. So I can just press enter right now and just jump to the title screen. This is the title screen. So that's pretty much what you do when you show the screen. You just play the animation, fade in out. And the reason we do that manually instead of doing it inside the splash screen animation player and just make it to autoplay is because we can go back and forward. We can just jump forward in time and backward in time. So for example, let's go, okay, enter, enter, escape. I'm going back now. Escape again. I'm going back to the splash screen. Now it resets every time we change scene, so I can just go back and forward as many times as I want, and it will be perfect every time. Because we handle the show and hide screen, which is very convenient if you ask me. Let's see, what else? So yeah, the contents of each hide screen and show screen changes depending on the screen. If you look at the title screen, this is a little bit different. This has a blinking title, I think, or screen message. I don't know which one. I don't remember which is which. I think screen message is press enter to start, and it just blinks when it's running. So if I were to play this scene here, it's just gonna hopefully blink. Well, it's not apparently, because we are enabling it from code, aren't we? Yeah, we have to run show screen before it starts blinking. I could add this in ready, but I'm not gonna do that because that's not the way the game flows. We don't usually just load the screen itself. It goes through the UI to change the screen, which then runs show screen and all that stuff. That's really easy. Like, you can see how little code each screen have. The splash screen has this code. 2 public functions, which is used by the UI. The constructor, which is disables inputs by default, so we can't just press keys when it's hidden. And we have reset animation state and a signal on animation finished, which then changes to title screen. Because once the splash, screen has ended the animation, that means we're done. We're done with the splash screen. Okay, let's go to the next screen, which is title screen. By running UI.showScreen and the name of the screen. It's very easy. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to, you know, get on ready, var, node, get node, Who cares? Make it easy, make it simple. So, let's look at the main menu. This may be more interesting though, because that has most functionality so far. I mean, let me look at this. We have, you know, hover, mouse, colors, you know, yellow. If I'm holding down left mouse button, you can see it changes a little bit. If I release it, you know, it's yellow again. So while pressing, change the color. The same with enter or space. No, oh, sorry. I cannot press enter when it's having the mouse over it. But now, if I hold enter, it's changing color, releasing, enter, releasing, enter, and so on. So up and down, up and down. I can use the keyboard. You know, it works fine. There's nothing wrong with this. There's that one thing I just mentioned. If I have the mouse over one of these, I cannot use the keyboard because we're disabling the keyboard input. And that's to get around an issue I had. I don't remember specifically what the issue was. I think it has something to do with if I'm hovering over this and pressing up, for example, then we expect the yellow one to change up. But because the mouse is already here, it's trying to keep start and levels yellow, so you'll have suddenly 2 yellow options selected. Now there may be ways around that. But I'm not going to spend so much time on that just yet. That's I think I had that in the to-do list. Let me check it. Hold on. Projects, Castle Baloneybeard. Load, save game data encrypted. Okay, that's a to do. Let me add another to do. Fix hover. Fix on mouse hover and up down keys. Showing duplicate highlighted menu items. So this is a part of the main screen TSN, I believe. I'm just writing this down in a GitHub project. It's a good way to keep notes down that may not be so important. Now I don't really need to use this actively. It's just I have written it down somewhere. So otherwise I would probably lose it if I wrote it down on a notepad or something. Yeah, you have a point. I agree. There's definitely trade-offs. It's for me. I find it hard to distinguish when you're going too far one way or the other. So I'm trying to find a good balance. In this case, for example, the UI changing the screen. This is something probably never gonna change. And if you are going to change, you will the changes will remain within here. It will not extend to other changes everywhere else. So if I were to use this in one place or another place, it should not have to force you to change multiple places. And that's what you get if you make sure your code is somewhat decoupled from each other, so you don't have a lot of hard coupling. But one thing about variables and reading them from a flat file, I'm not a fan of hiding data, if that makes sense. Or rather, hiding important relevant data, to be more specific. For example, in the UI, you know, we have access to a UI, we have show screen. We can see it in this class that we are calling show screen. How that is done, who cares? Like, I don't care how you show the screen. I just know that's what it does. Unless it lies, in which case you have other problems. But for example here, like this here, you have the entire context of this main right here. This is everything it does. So what happens is, you know, we show the screen size, we initialize, you show the screen, splash screen. So it takes you to the next step, which is to show the splash screen. Now there is no, you know, control link to splash screen, which will show you the next steps. You would have to jump to splash screen, so that's a negative. So when you got here, you follow the flow. Oh shit! You can follow the flow, you know. But even in here, I try not to hide data. A very good example rather, where I have seen people hide a lot of data where they really shouldn't, are in unit tests. You know, I'm working as a Java developer mainly, and there we do tests as any, you know, developer worth their salt should do. And some people write, you know, simple, clean tests that are easy to read, tests that have all the data you're working with, so you know what you're working with. It's not hiding data. It's not abstracting out, you know, testing logic. But I think that's a bad thing, because if you do abstract testing logic, it means you don't really know what the test does. I mean, you can see, let's say you create a function, test window within border or something, I don't know, front-end test, I guess. And if you only have access to the method, and that method keeps abstracting using superclasses, using other functions in other classes, it makes it very difficult to just get an overview, an understanding of the test itself. However, if your test is written in such a way that you have the variable in the test, like you can call other function and classes, whatever test class you want, but as long as you consolidate those data you are using in the test that are relevant for the test, so in such a way that you can see it, then that makes it readable. I know it's a bit difficult, like I'm talking about it, but you may or may not see what I'm seeing when I'm talking about this, so there may be a misunderstanding. That doesn't mean I want messy tests. It doesn't mean I want ginormous long test in one function. It's just, I'm just talking about ideas to hopefully point towards understanding the code, you know. Oh my god, I'm rambling again. I'm ranting! Stop! I need a ranting alarm or something. Okay, let's go back to some coding before I lose my voice. Let's see. What changes have I done? Okay, it's probably a bit small. Let me zoom in so it's easier here. Okay, I renamed the file. The config file exists. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what this does. Font? Change the font? I don't know. Probably not super important. Okay, let's just commit this. This is the branch 0002 US screens. Okay. What else? the second step, like the reason I'm doing this Castle Baloneybeard project is because I'm going to write a book on it, rather. Making a course, a tutorial series, whatever it'll end up as, I don't quite know yet. But the first step is to write it as a book. In a book, you know, you start out with, okay, you know, you're a beginner. How do you get into using Godot? How do we set up our own project? You know, what do we need to think about, and so on and so on. Like, this is what I'm working towards right now. And that is done by rewriting the original game, Castle Baloneybeard, which is a puzzle game. I think it's a fun game. I really enjoy this type of game. It's based on Ship's Adventure, I think it's called. A very old, very old game. Where you move this character around, you know, solve puzzles, pick up keys, and baloney, or some other points. And figure out how to get to the end of the level, and that's to get the baloney sandwich, in our case. Now this sandwich is not finished, because there's still more baloney on the loose that you have to find and collect and stack on your sandwich so that you can consume it. The sandwich, that is. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Frankly, I don't know if I have enough discipline to remember to turn on Pomodoro when I start ranting. Usually my rants are improv rants. I don't really plan my rants, if you know what I mean. Let me get the other balloon just to make sure it works. But yeah, look, this game has pretty much everything. Everything you can possibly learn about Godot. If I can write it in such a way that people can understand what I'm doing and understand what I'm trying to teach. So here's the sandwich. It's done. Let's go. Bam! Victory! Level 2. And another great thing about this, which I'm really happy about, is that the way you draw levels is so easy. Like, there would be almost no problem creating a level editor for this game and just load levels, because the logic is already built in. Each level is just a tile map with tiles. There's no code whatsoever except the level, except the top level node. And we're gonna recreate this. However, we're gonna do it much better, because when I wrote this, it was 1 week game jam. You know, you don't really have time to polish, to go through it, making sure it's well written, which it's not. It's not well written at all. I promise you, it's a nightmare. And I can hardly wait to get to the part where we are working with the level loading. I don't even know where it is. Where is it? Level measure? Oh, here it is. Oh yeah. Easter egg. I think it's here. I noticed that I have comments everywhere, and this is a really bad thing, because it keeps just doubling the things I have to read. Like load level, it says it right there, load level. Okay, if the level is invalid, then return. Well, I can see the return there. I can't understand what this is doing right away. I have to read this and think a level. Okay, if level is greater than global config level total, and level is less. What does that mean? If level is greater than global config level total, and level is less than 0. So does that mean the total can be less than 0? I have no idea. But the point is, when I had written this originally, if I know what I've done now, I would change this to right away to a description. You know, check level validity or something like that, so I wouldn't have to read this nonsense. Who cares about this? I just want to know what it does, and that's all about. That's what decoders does. We need to read. Which part do I most want to improve? This part, the load level part. That's what I'm looking forward to most. Because I thought it was quite ingenious the way I did it. Because I haven't heard, you know, I haven't learned anything about this before I did this. It just came to me, you know. Like, why do I always have to imagine drawing this level now and adding each node manually? Okay, you have this, and adding like enemy nodes here. Like, you know, okay, this enemy node have a code. Okay, I have to add path, so I probably have to write like, you know, up, left, down, up, right, up, and, you know, write some sort of movement system. And even the balloon, I will have to add the baloney node, making sure it's, you know, it's fixed to the tile, so it's, you know, it's centered. Pretty much everything. Like these are entities I can push around. Here, I don't have to do any of that. I can just draw. I can just freaking choose something. Okay, ice. Let's add some ice and see what happens if I add ice there. Okay. Let's hit play. Let's hit play. Let's see. I don't know. Level 2. Hit start. Oh, there's the ice. It's right there. It's done. So what happens if I move on this? I'm gonna slide to my death because it's ice. It's so easy to make levels with this game. So that's what you're gonna improve. I also hope that we can improve the graphics. I'm asking for help, ye old DM, if you have time. I hope you have time to redraw Castle Baloneybeard, make a sequel, make it a little better. Now the purpose of this is to, you know, attract new game developers, you know, to Godot Engine. You know, how to get started with Godot Engine, just making a game right away. Well, of course you will have to learn, but it'll take you there as long as you follow it. I mean, you may even skip the description and just follow directly the steps. And if you do that, you'll make the game, but you won't probably understand what you're doing, but you'll make the game. So you make the game, you know? Let me undo that and save. There we go. And that's what I'm looking most forward to. But I'm taking my sweet time working on the fundamentals. Like even just the screens. This system is new. This is not the same way we did before. Before we loaded everything manually, pretty much, writing the path to the script, about, you know, all the boring stuff that makes things difficult. There's the screen. No, that's not the screen. Splash screen. There it is. So the splash screen looks like this. This is the old. Remember, this is the old. I don't want it to look like this anymore. We have a background, we have label, we have copyright label, we have a canvas layer. I don't know why the canvas layer is there. What's in here? The canvas layer is just the scan lines that we added for the Game Boyish feel, apparently. Okay, so instead of naming this Game Boy screen or something like that, it's just screen and just canvas layers. Badly named. There are a lot of bad names here. Also notice that this one has a Pascal case. Pascal case? Is that the name? Pascal case. And this have snake case, which is not the correct one in Godot Engine. Godot Engine, you should use Pascal case on node names. In file names, it should be always snake case, even if it's Pascal case node name. So we're gonna be following the conventions of Godot Engine. We're gonna do as well as we can to do it correct, so they learn correctly. And don't just learn, you know, what's a variable. You know, we're gonna learn that, of course, but you're not gonna just learn what is a variable, how do you make a variable, blah blah blah. We're gonna talk about how to use a variable, you know, good ways to use it, bad ways you shouldn't use it, and so on. Because that's information I really missed in college when I, you know, took my education as a developer. I did not get any of that information in my head until after I got to work and learned it the hard way. When I began work, guess what I did? I added comments pretty much everywhere, like, you know, starts the class or node, and you know, something like that, runs at the start of the node. I don't know, something like that. I would add this everywhere, and even if it didn't, I would do like this. Okay, game over signal. Like, why? This is a waste of my time. It's a waste of anyone else's time that would have to read this, only to realize it's completely useless comment. Remove comments. If you have to add comment, make sure the comment is there for a reason, not just because you're writing a comment. For example, this is actually a decent comment. It has an old schoolish effect on the screen. This is the comment I mentioned about the class name. It didn't really explain, rather the node name, it didn't really explain what it does. It's just screen. It's a screen, I don't know. But this tells us what this is. It's an old schoolish effect on the screen. Okay, I understand that. Oh, okay. Okay, so overlay apparently. Oh, okay. But that's a decent comment. That's the only one I've seen so far. This? No. Why? I can see there are, you know, properties or variables or, you know, data. Call it whatever you want. It's the same. Okay, so what else? My rants. I need to curb my rants again. I should have like I should get a bot and add a sort of like a command people can use when I start ranting. And it will remind me that I'm ranting, stop ranting, or continue ranting. I don't know. Depends what people want. But yeah, the Castle Baloneybeard is pretty. I love it. I really do. I think it's my only genuine game I made. You know, that's our game. That's you know, that's good. I've been prototyping a lot. You know, a lot of unfinished business. But that's pretty much it, I think. I have a few smaller games like a Flappy Bird clone. I mean, who doesn't? I think pretty much anyone and everyone has a Flappy Bird clone. I'm sure you can find several Flappy Bird clone tutorials on YouTube on even with just Godot Engine. So this will be unique. It's gonna be a puzzle game. A darn good one. Okay. I keep ranting and getting 0 progress down. I apologize for that. What time is it? Let's see. I have time, that's good. Okay, so what do I need? What do we need to get done here? Let's go to main menu and see what's here. These are just placeholder, the colors. I'm not gonna spend too much time on graphics right now because I'm gonna get help. I thought about it's very easy to add these, didn't I? Like it's really easy to add menu items if we need to. I know we're gonna have a start, you know, option because we're gonna start the game somehow. I know we want a level selection screen. That will be this one. So when you complete the level, it's gonna be stored. So next time you start the game, you can just skip to that level if you want to continue from there. I know we're gonna have options. We are going to adjust the volume, mute, whatever you want. What the hell? Baba is you. Apart from mechanics, something I heard other people call juice. Dare I click this? Let's see. Juice it or lose it? What the hell? Why not? Hopefully it doesn't have any copyright. Let's see. Let's see.
You are too kind. I'm not sure. Last time we did, everyone was standing up. So yeah, we'll get them eventually. So
let's speed up.
How to make your game juicy, and I guess it's kind of like whimsy. It's this abstract notion of something that you need to have in your game. And I'm going to start by telling you what use exactly is. In video games, juicy things are things that wobble, squirt, bounce around, or make little cute noises. It's sort of a catch-all phrase for things that make the game feel good to interact with. The term juicy comes from this classic Gamma Sutra article called How to Prototype a Game in Under 7 Days. And they say this: a juicy game feels alive and responds to everything you do. Tons of cascading action and response from minimal user input. And use is typically visual or auditory, but it doesn't really need to be. Emily Shorts mentions on her blog that interactive fiction, which is an X-based game, they can't really do wiggles and squirts much, but they have their own kind of juice, the fun and sort of unexpected responses you get when you try something in the game that you're not supposed to do. And that's pretty much what juice is about. It's about maximum output for minimum input.
So why juiciness? I recently had the pleasure of giving feedback on some student games, and what I noticed was that almost all of them lacked juiciness. And that made me realize how important juiciness actually is to a game. Because in game design is quite hard and it's impossible to give broad statements that are true for everything. But adding juiciness to your game makes your game better 100% of the time, guaranteed. So in order to demo a bunch of small effects that you can add to your game to make your game more juicier, we decided to make a game, which is a breakout glow. We're going to show you a bunch of very simple juicy effects you can add to your game to make it better. First of all, we're going to add color, because it's hard to tell where the good guys and bad guys if everything's brown. So yes, so much better already.
I don't like explosions, you know? Screen shake when you hit something to make it exciting.
Tweening, which is very related to juiciness.
Yes. And switch. So, tweening. Tweening is one of these.
Why not? We can skip. Let's see. So this is just a long demonstration of what it means, what juiciness means, right? Okay, let's see. What do I predict? I predict it's gonna be a thing that makes it look fun. Visual, you know. Maybe it'll some sort of fireworks when you hit something. Maybe the ball will, you know, has some sort of tracing or something like that. Maybe there'll be lights, something like that. Maybe you know. That's what I'm imagining. I don't know if this is true or not. Let's see. Oh, cool.
So that's.
I was wrong.
Separate categories we have for effects. So for the last thing, we're going to disable everything and show you the beginning state of the state. So it's a breakout glow.
tons of fun.
Now we're gonna enable all the effects. Hopefully.
Are you ready?
Or sound. Yay, I'm right! Haha. Oh yeah, I'm so right. Oh my god, I nailed this. I nailed it! I nailed it, except the character. I did not imagine it being a character. I was imagining light or something. Okay, so you cannot lose, apparently. Okay, yeah, no, I agree. That's how you should do it. I mean, that's, you know, you make it fun. Make something boring fun. Or, I mean, essentially boring fun. Or not essentially. You know, yeah, make it juicy. Let's see. Oh yeah, when I talked about remaking the assets for the game, I don't mean, you know, I mean just remake it. Like, don't use the same asset. It can be the same style, whatever, you know, but not the same one, because the purpose of this is to first attract, you know, viewers. So when we, let's say I'm after, you know, when I'm writing the book, we'll probably begin with, okay, this is what we're gonna make. It's gonna do this, you know, it's this gonna gain, da, 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 da. You know, something to incentivize people to continue reading. I'm probably, and I'm almost 100% certain I'm gonna do this if I get that far, and that is I'm gonna make a video course on this. And guess what? Then we will have to show the game. And the game, you see, it's important that it looks juicy, as you know, as you so kindly put it. It doesn't have to be, you know, AAA graphics. You just have to be, you know, look nice. And I think the original, this one looks pretty sweet. I like this. However, it's very, I can imagine a lot of people being turned off by this style of game. You know, it's a Game Boy type of game. There may be many people not familiar with this Game Boy at all. In fact, I think pretty much most people nowadays are not familiar with this, unless they're older. Let's see, let me play the music again. So we're gonna move away from that. We're gonna make it a bit more universally accepted, I hope. We may keep the pixelation style, but we'll expand on it. But that's not the important part right now. Right now, I'm just getting everything we need. And the goal is not to prototype this game. This game has been prototyped. This is the prototype for this game we're making right now. The name is, you know, I may change that, but we'll see. Let's see. There it is. Wait a moment. I just realized something. Screens. I just realized that I'm naming these all screen at the end, but the main menu is that, not the screen. Not a big deal, I guess. I can just fix it. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do? What will I begin with? I'm not going to begin levels, because we need a level to do that. Or at least we should have levels. I'm not going to fiddle too much with options, because that means I would do music, and music, we're not going to do that yet. I'm not going to do all effects, I'm not going to do anything yet. Right now I just need to get the foundation back from Castle Baloneybeard. And then we're going to usify it. Let's see. So I guess we should start with start, right there, and move from there. Now, I'm not sure how I want to do this. Do I want to replace the scene completely, or do I want to keep this? Yes, I will do that. I'm gonna create a new node called game. But before I do that, I'm going to commit everything I have, and then I'm gonna commit merged branch, and then I'm gonna create a third branch. And the reason I'm doing it this way, which may or may not seem backward, is because I'm going to be reproducing this, you know, live. Probably, and then I'll have to write down what we're doing, you know, write down the steps I'm taking and everything else, so I can keep polishing it and turning it into something readable. Hold on. Did I probably didn't, did I? Did I rename this file? File should probably also be renamed. Yeah, I didn't. Let's do that. Menu screen. Menu screen. Main menu screen. That's okay. Menu.gd. What is this? This is part of the node, I think. Inside main menu screen. Yes, it is. There it is. Okay. This is fine, I think. We have constants, color. We may want to change that in the future, but right now it's fine. This is not something we're gonna add a configuration for. So this is fine. We have items, items count. We have an index to keep track of which one is selected. We have a recent function which is used by where. The main menu screen is using this. Okay, it calls the menu reset, so that seems to be where it's used. Okay, that's good to know. What else? Can I check what's using this? No, I can't. There's probably room for improvements here. Select next, you remove highlighted, you update next index, you highlight current item. Select group, you remove highlight, you update previous index, and you highlight current item. Okay, pretty straightforward. Hey, thank you for joining. Have a good post lunch. Okay, so up to the next index, up to the previous index. What are we doing here? What responsibilities can we extract from this script? Index. We have something that keeps track of index. That will be part of these items: the level, the start levels, the option, the exit. I guess this is where it should belong. Yeah. Could add a separate class, a script that this uses, that is not part of anything else except this. But what would that be, and what would the benefit be from that, if any? We have a signal item selected. So whenever we select an item, there are someone or somewhere, someone may be listening in. Are we? Item select. Okay, we are, but that we're doing that from within our main menu. So in here we have menu, connect, item selected, and select. Are we doing anything else here? Do we have anything? Yeah, I can remove this. I don't need this. I don't need this because I can use this here and do it like this. Make it a little bit easier to see. So when I press menu, I can see. Okay, that's what I'm doing. What else? So when I press start, what do I want to do? Well, I don't want to change screen. Well, I do, but I don't. What if? Where's the original? Level manager, there it is. Where is ready? Oh my god, this is a long script here. We are creating a timer. Now I don't know why. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? When are we creating this? Hold on. Find the path for this. This was a piss poor attempt for a state manager. Yeah, no, this can be done way easier. Oh my god. Let's see improvements. Okay, the key. What is keys? Update keys. I mean, what does that mean? Update keys. Oh, not keys. Okay, keys as in the items. The item keys, right? And why is it in the background? What the hell? Update keys. Where is this used? Where is this used? No, nowhere. Let's have to search. Oh boy. Apparently many places in player GD. Oh, this is the UI keys. So the keys you see on the screen. Oh, I see. Okay, so that means all of this stuff, which is for some reason happening in the player script, we're drawing the UI. Why are we doing that here? Holy crap. Oh my god. Oh, 500, over 500 lines. Update player facing. This was, I believe, before we had vector 2 left and whatnot. In the old ages of Godot. Oh my god, I can't believe there's so much stuff going on here. And this looks familiar. What is T? What is T? Why am I writing T? What the hell is T? T. What is T? Tile? Tiles. Why didn't I write tile then? That's another thing. That's a really bad thing to do. Doesn't right now. Okay. So what am I doing here? I'm in the player script, right? Yeah. Why am I in? Why is the player doing this? Oh, okay. I'm checking for collision, right? So if it's solid, pre-move player. Okay. So I'm calculating whether or not I can move. So that means no, I cannot move because we found a tile that is solid where I'm trying to move. So there's a solid where I'm trying to move, so I'm not moving there pretty much because this is a tile-based game. You're moving, you know, horizontally and vertically, one step at a time, kind of like, you know. And I think we use tween or something like that to move them, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get back to that. We're gonna improve that. But I can see that it's going to be a pain to rewrite this. There it is, slide tween. Clean this mess up. Last minute code implementation. This works. I don't know why, or how or why, but it works for now. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's the comments I like to know. See. Okay, what is ice? This is a sectional ice here. Okay. If var on ice, slide ice slash, slide ice to pause. Okay, okay. So this is apparently the logic that has to do with the ice here. Okay, so that should be a class pretty much. Something that has something to do with ice. Probably. We have a function called slide ice. Keeps the player facing the same direction he had when entered. Okay. So that would be that direction, because you're always going to face towards the ice you're moving onto, so it's always going to be the same. So couldn't you just prevent rotation while it's on ice out there? Okay, try to move, continue sliding, try to move player. That's where you get false and true and whatever. So if you get through, it means we're good. Then we slide. So this here, another function, possibly class. Slide ice tween. You're creating a new tween, apparently, between every. Holy crap. Why am I creating a new one? Couldn't I just reuse? Oh, if it's null. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, so if it's not created, we didn't create it. Okay, that's a little better, but still something that should be done in a function or somewhere else at least. Yeah, this entire thing doesn't need to be in here. If this is the thing that's gonna be happening in the game anyway, you might as well just do it. This has zero effect by doing it earlier. This is not an enterprise server with the thousands of customers who are trying to interact with the same thing. Slide ice tween, impervious property. Okay, it's good to have this because I cannot for the life of me remember how to do this. Like, you know, just Google how to use tween, move, position, Godot Engine, something. last move. If it's not last move, then you keep moving. So what is last move? Where was that set? I suspect this is set somewhere in here. I suspect. So let's see. Try to move player. What's the difference between try to move player and the pre-move player? Like, hello, I play Kindred. Welcome. So what's the difference? I have this one. Where's the other one? The pre-move. Pre-move? Yeah, pre-move player. Do pre-move calculation. Okay, why didn't I just name that then? You know? So, what is this return? Like, this is return if you can move? Or are you moving? I don't know. Like, it's two functions with pretty much the same meaning in the name. Okay, so we start by getting an empty tile position. We are getting the world entity. So we are just checking for the tiles we may or may not collide with. Hello, Svitov. I am creating a Castle Baloneybeard 2, which is a puzzle game. And we are doing it so that we can create and write a book on it. So anyone that may want to learn Godot Engine game development can then follow along and they will create this game. This specific game was made during a game jam for about a week or so. So it's not really polished. It's the code is a mess to look at, and I hate looking at this. This is an eyesore to look at right now. It's gonna be beautiful when I'm done with it, but it's an eyesore right now. And that means we're gonna recreate this game. We're gonna create a good systems for UI, for you know, HUD, for your player, for all the good stuff. You know, setting volumes, setting, you know, everything you would need in a game. You're gonna learn that in this game. You're gonna even learn how to use tilemap, how to draw your own levels, how to smartly do so that you won't have to spend a lot of time making the levels. It's as easy as just select the tile and draw it. That's how easy it is to make a level right now. So you can just, if you want to see the original one, you can just probably Google Castle Baloneybeard or something. Let me take a look here. Game Jolt. I can find it. Oh, here it is. Let me link it here. It's currently a downloadable game. I can make this into a browser game, and I was going to do that. I didn't get that far. I did get that far once, but then I deleted the server and lost everything because it's not really that much of a big deal setting it up again. I may do that, but we're not there yet. So this game, which we are gonna recreate in a much better and more efficient way, it needs polish. We need to take time to think, to figure out what to do. And the next step right now is to figure out, okay, how do we want to load the game in? Speaking of the next step, did I not commit this yet? Let's see. Okay, good. It works. Let me add everything again. Let's save this to be the renamed main menu to main menu screen. That's what it did. And then I'm going to merge this. Yeah, I love the art too. It's made by Ye Old DM. You can find his credits on that on GameJolt.com as well. And hopefully he will help me with the new one as well. Where is the up there? There it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to merge this in, because now it's the initial implementation of this. This is the UI screens. Pull request. And let me then merge. And once that is done, I'm going to store this version so that I can come back to it when I'm writing the book. I'm gonna do that for creating another release. I think I can do it from here, can I? Well, Why? Why did I do that? I don't remember where to do that. How did I create a release? There it is. Here it is. Okay, draft a new release. This is gonna be 0002 UI screens, I guess. Let's create a tag 0004 UI screens. I think that was the name of the branch, wasn't it? Let me look here. Oh, create it. Is that right? I don't remember. Hold on. UI screen. Yeah, that's right. 0002 UI screen. Let's create that. Bam. Name that is fine. What did I do? I created the initial systems for changing my screens. I think I also added the config in this part. No, that was the last part. Yeah. This is the UI screen part. Without needing to know much of the how it is done. Pretty much. Let us publish the release. And now we have stored this, so we can come back to this. Now I'm gonna create a third branch after checkouting to master and pulling it so I get the data. And this branch is going to be named 0003. I don't know what yet. To be honest, well, I guess it's gonna be the game. I mean, that would make sense, right? But the game is pretty much everything, so I need to be more specific. So I'm just gonna name this VIP 0003 VIP, and I'll rename this later once I know what it is, because I have no idea what it is yet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, reload. It's complaining because I changed branch to master, which then means a lot of files changed. And then I pull the changes from GitHub, which means now the changes are back to the way it was. So how are we gonna do this? Let's start by creating a node. I want this to be a node for the game, you know? I'm not sure what type to use though. Should I use node 2D? Should I use control node? I'm thinking control node. But I remember having a lot of issues with control because it keeps blocking mouse input and whatnot. And it's a bit... we'll see. Okay, let's put that on top because the UI should be on top of the potential game we have here. Then we're also gonna add a pause screen and whatnot, so when we're in the game, a screen is gonna show on top of the game again. And that is why it makes sense to move the game on top of UI, because this is on top of game. Let's fit the screen to the width of the canvas we have here. Anchor points to the end, so it fits the entire screen. What else should we do here? Let me look at the game here. I think I should have a game scene here, don't I? My god. Frankly, the original one is a bit difficult to follow the flow of this. Jesus. Let me remove everything so I can find things here. Level manager. Could it be here? Is this a auto load? Okay, only the glow is auto loading here. Okay. So where does this come in to the picture? Oh, manager. Where's this loaded in? Main menu. Maybe from here. I mean, it would make sense. Would it? Oof. All the way I handled main menus were not really good at all. Let's see, what do I have here? I have comments, that's what I have. Comments everywhere. Ready. I cannot complain enough about comments. I'm sorry, I apologize if you have lived through already my previous rant about comments. So what do we do? We change selection. What is change selection? You set the comment set initial selection. Well, here is change selection. What is selection? What selection are we doing? Is this the menu items? This? Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? Okay, so then you play music. So how do I know this is start and exit and whatnot? Where's that done? Seems to be hidden away here. Hold on. Hold on. You are up. Okay, this just changes selection up. Okay, this changes down. Ah, okay. I see. What the hell? Oh, cool. Yeah. The way I did this was when I'm on the music or the level part of the game, the menu. If I then press left and right, it will see if I'm either on level or music. So if I'm on level right now, so that would be select item now 1, because start is 0 and so on. Then it will decrease level. If it's 2, it means I am on music. And if that's the case, I decrease music. Now, this is pretty decent. I like the way I did this. However, this should be made into a constant, so I know what 1 is. What the hell is 1? But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for... There it is. Here it is. If my selected item is 0, which is the start, then I emit signal start. And send the level in, the current level, I assume. That means I probably... am I changing this in here? I am. Okay. Oh boy. I'm incrementing it. If it has exceeded it, I set it to be the toe, so the last level. Otherwise, I play a sound changed. Why is it if else though? I should play this anyway, shouldn't I? No, I shouldn't, right? No, never mind. It'll just stay at the level, the max level. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So when we emit the signal start, who's listening to this? Who's listening to our main menu signal? I have no idea. Let's see. Searching. Excuse me. Timer start. Start timer. Press start. Signal start. Delay timer start. No, it could be player. Tile main. I have no idea. Wait, here? Could it be here? Is that where I was? Start the game. Yes! This is a useful comment because I would have no idea where the hell this was run from. But this should be put in the other side, to be honest. Ah, there. So the way we start the game is just by running level manager. Currently I'm committing to a private repository, the new one at least. It's just a private work in progress project. When it's when I have the first draw, I'll put it public. Because it's gonna be anyone can use this code or whatever. You know. There may be a restriction on the images and whatnot, but the code, whatever you want. You can use the images too. I mean, just don't sell it, I guess. So the way we start this, we start by clearing the nodes. Okay, so you're literally clearing the node. We're cleaning the scene tree here. Okay. Why? The comments are killing me inside. Then we change the game state to intro. Why intro? That doesn't make sense. Aren't we starting game now? I mean, I could just make it public now, but I don't know. I think when I'm making it public, I'm going to create a new repository and make a clean commit. So it'll just be one commit, you know, initial changes, version 1.00 or something. I don't know. I think I was thinking along those lines when I did it. So we have the current state. By the way, Castle Baloneybeard, the original one, you can find the repository up. It's public. So if you want to look at this code, you are more than welcome to look and peruse and do whatever you want. You can find this code here. Oh yeah, this one. Ah shit, I died. Well, okay. Okay, I'm instantiating the level manager. That's it. So is the level manager the game? Is that what you're trying to tell me? You know what? I could just play this and check the remote scene. Why am I not doing that? Okay, so on the left side you can see global, main, and menu music. Play. Okay, now the level manager is spawned, and in here we have a timer, we have a level, and we have the world. Cool, cool. Here we have UI, we have okay, so it's the level manager that actually is the level, the game. So we're definitely going to be rewriting that. I may look into best practices with that, because I'm frankly not sure how I would want that to be. The first priority is making it somewhat decoupled, making it easy to use, understand. Actually, understanding it is the most important part. Let's see if I can find it. Level manager should be here. This is what's loaded in the game. So on ready, we enable input, we're creating a timer, which I assume is just the the countdown. It's a timer we see on each level. Each level has a timer. Okay, so this, yes, this is the level. And the reason I named this the level manager, because this is where all the logic happens for the levels, right? Death, victory, yeah. What is this function? Update task. Now this is the fun place. This is what does the magic of replacing a tile map with actual game logic. So here we have a world tile map. We get a list of used cells from that, because we don't care about non-used cells. I mean, what sense does that make to care about those? We do the same with extra, entities, and enemies. So these are the three categories. Yes, we can begin with this, I think, soon, maybe. That means we may begin by creating a level. Is that what it means? Maybe? I think it does. I think the prudent thing to do now is to create a level that we can load in before we even write any game functionality for the level. Okay. Let's see, how am I going to do that though? We don't have any assets yet for the new game. I may just reuse the assets we have for the old one. For Castle Baloneybeard. How should I just? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Where's the resources here? Resources. Yeah, where are the resources for this? Tile set, right? No? Wait, spreadsheet? Ah, here we go. Yeah, perfect. Let's see, where is it? Open file manager. Because we have more tile sheets. So this is enemy patrol, this is extra. That will be the spawn, that will be patrol routes, that will be I don't know what C is. What's C? Don't remember. And we have a sprite sheet, which is the levels, the you know, all the things. But yeah, we're gonna separate this. I would like tiles to be tiles. Or should I keep the same? Let's Google that. I don't know. What is best? Should I just keep everything in one sheet, or should I separate them into, let's say, bundles? So we have static, static sheet tiles, like this: ground, floor, wall, wall. Should we separate this by floor, like type? Okay, floor, picture floor, and wall, picture walls and whatnot. So, for example, this is water. It's animated. Would we then create a separate tile sheet for only that water? I don't know. Oh, apparently I had the reverse on this one. Never got to use that one. Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna. I think we're gonna split them up into several sheets. Let's see. Tile sheet. Best practice game development tile sheets. What time is it? Okay, I still have some more time. What is this? An introduction to creating a tile map engine. What is a tile map engine? Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's what I need, but interesting. The tile atlas. The most efficient way to store the tile images is in an atlas or sprite sheet. Yes. This is all of the required tiles grouped together in a single image file. When you start to draw the tile, only a small section of this bigger image is rendered in the game canvas. Okay. Using Atlas also has the advantage of naturally assigning every tile index. This index is perfectly used as tile identifier when creating the tile map object. This is done, by the way, by default, I believe, in Godot, because once you create a tile set, rather, it saves that tile set into its own Godot file type, whatever that is. So maybe there's something to that, and that makes me believe and realize that it doesn't matter what we do, because Godot is gonna do its own thing when we, create the tiles. Okay. So in which case, what I should prioritize is then modularity, making it easy to change, because we're gonna be changing these tiles. We're not gonna use green. This one. But it's a good. We can use this to begin with. Yeah. Strange. Okay, let's see. So how big are these tiles anyway? If I had to guess, I'd say 16 times 16. 16 times 16? Yeah, 16 times 16. Yes, okay. So how big do we want our new game to be? And can I do it in such a way that it doesn't matter what the tile image itself is? How big it is, rather. Let me think. Okay, let's try that. I'm gonna create individual images for now. No, that's not modular enough. We need to take it one step beyond that. So if I were to write down this, like if I just were to write down this, okay. Tile 1. No. Tile floor 1. Okay, that's the name. The size is 16 x 16 on this image. It's a type floor. The name, I guess it doesn't really matter. PNG, whatever. And that's it, I think. What other data would I need from each sprite of floor? Yeah, we're gonna be doing scripting. The reason we're going to do this way, I'm not even going. If I can get away with it, I'm not going to make. I'm not gonna load this in the game. No, it's not possible, is it? Maybe a folder that we can put things in. I don't know. I may be overthinking this, and I probably am. Because we're not gonna be changing the level graphics that much. I think. But you know what would be cool? It would be darn cool if we could create custom tile sheets that you can use in the game. So let's say if I were to turn this into a browser game, you could, use a tile map editor to create your own levels and your own, let's say, tile map texture, I guess. So if you just have this template, you can change it to whatever you want and it will look right. What I don't think I can do then is customize the type. That will have to be constant, which means I would need to create a template. So this will be the template. Something like Minecraft. Minecraft does that. It has texture packs, I think it's called. You can create your own texture packs that just places the one that's already used in the game to increase graphics or decrease graphics as you want, to have some details, whatnot, and that's not depending on the image size. So there's something along those lines is what I want to achieve. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think so. Maybe it's a tile sheet's what I should do. Hold on. Minecraft tile map. Or tile sheet, I guess. Okay, this is how it looks like. So these are states of the grass or the mushrooms or warts, what do you call them? We have torches, it seems. Since we have pretty much everything, we even have fire, really? But this is a custom pack, by the way. I'm just looking at the... Yeah, it's like everything is one picture, right? I think we can get away with that too, right? What's the point of having multiple pictures? And if I ever come to the point that I would need to add more, I could just add another tile sheet. Tile sheet 2. Okay, that's where it continues, you know? Right? Holy shit. Then again, this is a very, very low res image, so maybe there's something to that too. Let me add a new one. From clipboard, create. Yeah, 256. It has more of these then, like. Why doesn't it show me? Yeah, 16, same size. But then again, this is 3D and Minecraft, so maybe we don't need it. Yeah, I mean... No! You know what? Yes, tile sheets can work. And if you want to change this resolution to 32 by 32 for each square, what we can do is just scale the entire sheet. And I believe that's what Minecraft is doing. I can double this tile sheet right here in Minecraft. And it should work in Minecraft. It'll just, you know... It will double in size, pretty much. I think that's the way to go. So that way I can load more per sprite. Yes, yes. So as long as I can find a way to load that in the game, it shouldn't be a problem. So we can start out with 16 times 16 and we can build on that. So let's do that.
Now to strike.
Let's resize the canvas a bit. 2, 5, 6. Yeah, man. Couple left. This is fine. Let's save this. Okay. Crap. Castle Baloneybeard. Where's the other one? There we go. Show me. Resource. File sheet. Well, that will be a challenge, but let's see if we can figure out a way to do this. There's no way to plan all this in advance and get it right the first time, so let's just iterate through this. Sprite sheet. Why did I do sprite sheet? Let's do that tile sheet. No compression whatsoever. Not that it matters, I guess. 9 kilobytes. Okay, so this is the tile sheet. Tile map. Tile sheet map. Okay, let's open the tile map. The tile sets rather we set up here. Take a look how it's done. Tiles. There is the scene. World. It's not that. So the way we have done this is by adding sprites. We have a little rectangle area there set by the region. Okay. So let's do that. Let's get a new scene. This is gonna be a let's use node. This is gonna be our tile set for world. So world tile set maybe. Let's add that in source. Well, these are tile sets, right? So let's just name it that. Tile sets. Yeah, tile set. World tile set. Let's save. Let's add a sprite for first half, for floor. Now, these names does not matter at all, because what matters is the order they appear in, because that's what's going to turn into a index, a tile ID pretty much, so we can identify what they are. Yeah, world. Okay, that's fine with this. We have, well, But here's the challenge with Godot. The way we create a tile set is by exporting this. So when I then hit this convert to tile set, it creates a tile set based on what we have made here. Maybe I can make a script to generate that. But I will have to look and see what it is, because I have no idea. Let's open resource tile sheets. Let's see if I can't get something from here. Let's set the region. XX width is 16, height is 16. And there we have it. Now the reason it's blurry is because by default, for some reason, someone somewhere decided that by default, let's filter everything. Let's make everything blurry. Because who would want a crisp image? I mean, let's assume they're morons and that they need our help to, you know, smudge that out so it looks better. Should probably just set it here. I think there's a default filter or something. Quality. No? Use filter. No, not that one. Where was that? Is it here? Was it the editor? No. I think there's a default somewhere. I have no idea where it is though. Where you can fix that. So let's just fix the one tile sheet anyway. Select the image, let's find import, and let's uncheck filter, and then re-import. So now you can see it's crispy. Very good. What time is it? You have to go and not too long apparently. About half an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Maybe less, we will see. Okay, so we have one single floor tile. Let's create a wall tile. I don't know why I named this the way I did. I have no idea. Okay, so the wall tile is... let's use the solid one, the number 2B. Where's that one? It is... okay, so I have to move it down a little bit. So, the region will be 16, 16. Okay, so now we have a floor and we have a wall. That's enough to get us started. Let us export this and see what it creates. All set. Let's go to source, tile set, and let's create an export folder. And this is something we need in the game to load them up in the tile maps later on. Let's name this the world tile map. Tile set rather, sorry. Let's save and let's see. I see I renamed this badly. Let me fix that. The file names Godot should use snake case, not Pascal case. There we go. I agree, that would be better. To be honest, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, no, I agree. We'll find names for them at some point. But before we get that far, let's see how the script is generated. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. I see that there's a lot of data here that does not matter at all. That's good news. I also see there's only a few things here that changes between each. We do have indexes on both the sprites. We have a name on them. That's what you set them, you know. I mean, the node names themselves should be Pascal case, but the file you save should not be. It is a bit confusing, I agree, and frankly it can be a pain. That's the reason I used originally only snake case everywhere, because, you know, screw Pascal case. What genius decided to mix them up, you know? But then again, that's just for what Godot decided to use. I'm just gonna follow it as best as I can. Because as long as everyone follows a convention which Godot has set, we can all understand each other. And that's what's more important than, you know. I think this is doable. I think I can make this from code. I mean, I know I can't, but yeah. The challenge is how I'm going to do this on runtime. For example, what I would like to do is I would like to test this. I would like to use this in a simple map, and then I would like to change the image with something else. Add a line or something in the image, and then just reload the game. And the game it's it would work anyway, wouldn't it? Because I'm just changing the details in this. That doesn't matter, does it? What would matter is scaling. If I were to scale this, I would have to double this and this and this and this. In which case, I would have to generate it. I think it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, consistency is key. Might as well do it consistent the way Godot has decided, you know, follow conventions. 0, 0, 16, 16, 0, 16, 16, 16. 0, 0, 16, 16. It's a rectangle region. The other region is same, 16, 16, 16, 16. So lower right relative to this one. This is the corner. Everything else seems to be pretty much identical. If I highlight this, well, I guess the 0 kind of throws everything up. Can I do this? Interesting, we have C index. Can I drop? Well, I guess I could, couldn't I? Okay. At least I know it's possible. I'm not gonna do it now. Let's create a level. A level, what do we need? We need walls. We need a wall. I mean, we need walls, we need floors. Everything else are just entities, I think. Water, movable blocks, ice. Let's create a baloney as well. I agree. Godot was more difficult to work with when you had scenes that wasn't TSCN. It was just SCN, which are unreadable. TSCN stands for text scenes, I think. So you can open this up as well. Also with TRES, text resource, I believe, I assume, I don't know. I think I can I save this in the old format anyway? Let me take a look. Yeah, you can save it in the old format if you insist. The same with res. If you want to make it unreadable for whatever reason. I don't know why you would ever, but it's possible. Yeah, let's make a baloney. But we're gonna make that in a different tile set. I'm not gonna use the same tile set. So let's add a new scene. Let's find a node. This node is gonna be our special node for entities tile set, I think. You know what? Entity tile set. Entity. I'll name this same entity tile set. It's in. Let us copy this here, make it a little easier for us. I love the improvement Godot has done, being able to just copy notes from one scene to another. That was something that wasn't there before. At least maybe a year and a half ago, or 2 years maybe. I keep jumping, you know, in and out of working with Godot. Not because I want to, it's just I get tired. Let's see. Let's name this baloney. 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 Let's go with that. Okay. So where is it? It's right there. Can I just? Ooh, I can. Yes. Okay. What's the size? Step should be 16. 16. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right, come on. There we go. Yes, it works. Cool. That's way easier than typing in region coordinates for sure. Sweet. Okay, so we have a baloney now. That's the item we're gonna pick up somehow. What else do we need? We need an item. We need an item we can pick up. What item will that be? It's gonna be our first key. It's gonna be our heart key. Heart key. Let's do that. And let's mark it there. Let's move it out. That looks kind of cool actually. It's kind of like a pancake or something with heart. I don't know. So now we have 2 items. We're also gonna need a door. And that door will have to be opened somehow. Now, how did I organize that here? Did I put that into this as well? Yes, I did. Now, I don't think doors should be categorized as an entity. Or should it? The reasoning I had, I believe, and put this into a entity category is because it's something we have to replace and add logic to. So in the case of the keyholes, well, if it's a keyhole, we have to open it and you know, remove it. I'm not sure if that's what I did or not. I suspect I just did a check. If I have key and if this tile ID matches this one, then I remove it. In which case, it can just as well be a world entity and not an entity. I mean, world tile set and not the entity tile set. Now these are entities, because these, you know, pick up item. But then again, with that logic, pretty much anything can be just world entity. Because I'm sure I can code it in such a way that I don't need any code on any of these, ever. Except animation. But, you know, even that, I can probably use an animated sprite, and then you don't have any code. And that's a great part about doing this puzzle game, the way I'm doing it. Easy to change, easy to improve. But difficult to understand, at least in the old one, so let's see if I can't make it better this time. So in the hard key, let's add... Yeah, no, this is gonna be part of the world, because that when I'm drawing the world, I want the doors to be, you know, drawn at the same time. Let's do that. Let's duplicate that. Control D. This is gonna be the heart door. What else? I need to the positioning, of course. Let's see. Grid 16. Let's just select that one there. There we go. Now the one downside with the way I've been doing things is I'm using indexes, which means if I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe when I export the tile set, it's gonna be, you know, 0, 1, 2. If I rearrange that and re-export that, it's gonna mess everything up. So what I would like to do is I would like to use the names as in order to identify the IDs of these tile sets. And I believe I can do that by just getting the tile set scene and just iterate through, you know, 0, 1, 2, and just store that in memory somewhere. Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest. If you can think of something, please let me know. So the world tile set, I'm thinking that's just gonna be, I'm drawing the world. No items, no balloonies, no special effects, you know. No teleporters, for example. It's just gonna be the world. It's gonna be floor, wall, you know, doors, maybe water. Yeah, water. You know, the scenery. Entities will be special things, such as baloney, such as the keys. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think it's gonna be a lot in entities. Like pick up items. Like even buttons and the movable block should probably be part of the... Well... Should it be world? No, it shouldn't be world. It can't be world. Yes, it is. And I just remembered now why I did have doors in the entity tile set. It's because when I'm drawing the world, by default it doesn't have any floors under the door if I don't draw the floors. So when I'm drawing the world, I'm drawing the floors, the spaces where I will later place doors using the entity tile set. Ah, crap. Yeah, I have to do it that way, otherwise it will be more difficult. Yeah, static stuff, I agree. I'm gonna move the door into entities for now. Maybe a different one together. Maybe it'll just be door tile set or something like that, I don't know. Or interactable tile, I don't know. Yeah, static. Static tile set, non-static tile set, whatever that's gonna be. Yeah, I agree. Buttons as well, entities. Yeah, I think I'll have to put it here. Because remember, I'm drawing this, right? I have to draw a floor so I can add a door on top of that floor. So the world will be floor. The entity for now will be the door, or whatever else I'll name this later. Okay, let us test this out. I need another tileset actually. And that is the tileset for our special stuff, our special things, extra. I think I named this. Yeah, like the spawn, where we're gonna spawn. You know, we have to add a spawner. This is the extra special. Yeah, you're right. World is like background. Maybe a background tileset is a good name. Yeah, why not? I like that. Background tileset. Okay, special tileset. It's gonna be the P and the. Can I copy from one to the other? No. Oh my god! I almost. I had hope, and it just went away. It's dangerous. Yeah, transparent doors. Why not? In the new version, I'm hoping we can add a little bit more detail, a little bit more than what we have now. Now it's pretty, you know, simple. But for now, I'm just gonna use the 16 by 16, and when we get that far, when we want to improve it, I'm going to write a script that will rewrite the tileset text resource files, so that it will be correct. It's not gonna be easy, but it's doable. That I'm 100% sure of. So in here, let's name this the special asset. I'm gonna copy one of these just to have something. Name this the spawn. In the spawn, we're gonna have to find a special. Yeah, why did I get a different tileset for this? I'm gonna put it in the same one. Towards the floor. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. You are correct. It does make sense. Wait, let me before I forget, let me rename this to background tileset. But background sounds so like far away. You know, it's part of the world. I don't know. I feel like it. Maybe. No promises. What is that? Like a barricade? What is that? What is that? Not abstract, like just, you know, it sounds like it's far away. It makes sense if you think about layers, yes, but if you don't think about layers and think about contents, it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? And if I'm sorting by layers, I might as well just name this layer 1, you know? I don't know. So instead, I'm trying to put it into a category. So that's why I was thinking, you know, world category. It's the world. We're drawing the world, okay? You know. But then again, a lot of things are part of the world. I have no idea. Let me find the other sprites. Extra, there it is. Let's make this really special. Enemy patrol. Right, center. Yeah. Something. Oh yeah, it's not right, is it? Oh my god. I think that's why I did separate layers or something. Can I get grids? Wait, here, show grid. 16 by 16. There we go. Ah, there we go. That's better. That's what I needed. center that one. It's about yeah, there's fine, I think. And that looks fine, that looks fine. Everything looks fine. Changed my mind about putting everything in one tile sheet. I think like UI component should be in separate one. Same with triggers, or I don't know what to call this, like special things you don't see in the game. But anyway, you do see. So, yeah. Let me undo this. I'm gonna copy this, yeah, that's right. What time is it? Okay, I have to go in not too long now, unfortunately. Resource tile sheet. It's not really tile sheets, but it's extra special. Characters. Characters? I mean, why not? I can have more here, right? And if I understood the resource file correctly, I can also resize it so long as the position is correct. Because we had positions, we were setting regions, setting a start coordinate and a end coordinate. Yeah, it should be fine. Tile sheet, characters, special tile sheet. So tile sheet, I'm gonna rename that to world. That'll be the world. And I'll do my best to fix it. Where is it? Old, special. So characters, what's that gonna be? But I guess that's special. No, it's not special really. NPCs. What's a different world for something alive? Characters, NPCs. I guess NPCs is just as well. Non-playable characters. I have no idea. No clue. Let's fix this. Disable the filter. Let's see. Is this renamed? No. Let's load the resource again. World. There we go. Just in case it screws up. Okay, enemy tileset. Enemy tileset entities. Ah, I have to separate entities too. My God, so much work. Okay, I'm gonna do this a bit later now. I'm gonna take. I have to leave now, and then. I'll see when I can continue. No, we only have one character right now, and that's the bear. That's the only character. And it also has a different facing, which is apparently backwards. Or up, I guess. Next time I'm going to separate. I don't know if I'll do it in live or if I'll do it on my own when I have a little time. I will separate world tile in world PNG. Separate NPCs in NPCs PNG. Separate entities in entities PNG. That would be, you know, buttons, floor, not floors, doors, anything that's on top of the world, you know, like you suggested. I appreciate that. Triggers, yeah, triggers. Well, no, I mean, when I think trigger, I think of an invisible area that you can interact with, or that you can trigger by moving into it, you know what I mean? I remember when I was playing Yellow Knight Academy, in the old time ago, no time. And I was creating levels for that. You could create event triggers, or whatever it's called. I think it was just called triggers actually, which is just an area, a cube area that's invisible, but it's in the trigger area. So when you as a player move in there, something triggers. That can be maybe a gun shoots or something like that. Maybe an elevator goes up and down when you move into this area. You know, that kind of stuff. I feel like playing Yellow Knight Academy again. Holy crap! Play JKA. Okay. So that's it. Thank you for joining. I appreciate every single one that dropped by today, and you, of course, and you use people. Peep. Let's see. And then we'll see. I will post on Twitch when I go live, as I usually do. You can see me on YouTube. If you're not there, you can see me on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, and so on and so on. And yeah, I think that's it. What else? I post VODs on the Discord channel with a log at the end of every stream. So if people want to see the previous recording, I will be putting them there, so I can keep everything in one place. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for joining, and have a good day. So where's the button? There it is. Bye bye.